You got a problem, you don't know what to do, your dreams are strange, and you're seeing things too. The world is full of mystery, life's more than you can see. You can ask Pomegranate, you can ask Pomegranate. She's a priestess.
Hi, Pomegranate. I have a question. My daughter asked me the other day, what is a pagan? I was wondering if you could enlighten me and her. Thank you.
What is a pagan? That's a great question. I have a really long answer to that question, actually, which is I'm going to go on to define, from my perspective, many other things and sort of how they, from a Western perspective, how they pan out. Pagan is a word that defines Western indigenous populations, basically. Indigenous white people. So when we were indigenous to our land and we just lived on it and we had a relationship with the land, we were pagans. And a pagan is someone who is a person who has a relationship to the land. So they recognize that the land itself feeds them food and water and energy and biophilia. It gives them a feeling of the biology. They feel interconnected with the trees and the sky and the water. It turns out that biophilia is an essential part of our health, and that as we have moved into the industrial age, and we have removed signs of nature from our environments and made them less biophilic, we have created environments that are depressing and draining and cause us to be sick and cause us to be mentally ill. And that architects and interior designers are starting to realize that we need to bring those elements back in. We also need to go outside. I live in Oregon, so we have abundance of that outsideness. We have a lot of outside here. That's funny. I don't know if they have outside where you live, but you want to be out in it, despite the rain. So pagans had this relationship with the land where they recognized it, and they recognized that it was important to them. And we're starting to remember that now in the modern era. I blame some architects who I have a resentment towards. Mies van der Rohe. Did I say that out loud? Sorry. Who, they're just getting rid of that feeling of interconnectedness. And there's a sort of an Ayn Randian alienation that came about, and the glorification of buildings as monuments. And now we're changing that. We're like, no, we like wood and we like plants and we like to see outdoors and we like to have water nearby and we like the sound of water, and all of these things help us stay alive and they help us stay interconnected. And so a pagan, this is not an answer for your daughter. Now I'm going to give you the answer you can tell your daughter. A pagan is somebody who says, oh, the earth is alive and I'm a part of that life. And in that, things that are alive are in systems, or in ecosystems, and ecosystems are interconnected. And so they think that's special, and they think that's spiritual, and they go, yay, that's special and spiritual. Ecosystems, yay, I'm a part of an ecosystem, an ecological system, and I will impact it, I will influence it, and it impacts me, and it influences me. So suddenly, that's sort of sounds a lot less woo-woo, right, than maybe previously thought. Don't worry, I'm getting to the woo-woo. It's coming. So that's what a pagan is. Now, a pagan also says that means that because I'm alive and the ecosystem is alive, the earth is alive. The earth is interconnected, and it has cycles. When we notice these things, we notice that it also has cycles, and these cycles are based on Depending on where you are in the globe, it's based on the wheel of the year, and there's more or less of an impact of that wheel of the year. And we recognize that wheel of the year, and we recognize with each turn of it that we change and we grow and we become embodied in a different body every year, and we become a new person, and we are renewed, and we go through a life and death cycle every year. We go through a life and death cycle, culminating in the winter solstice, which is right around Christmas. See if this sounds like anything you've heard before. So at the end of the year, we go through a death process at Halloween. And then as we go through that death process, we are reborn at winter solstice. And we all go through that life and death cycle every year. And so Jesus is sort of one of the mythologies that echoes that. There's lots of other ones. There's ones that are actually precisely like his, which are 10,000 years older than his story. But his story is a good one. I'm cool. I'm down with Jesus and his story because it reflects our story. So that's what a pagan is. And so a pagan recognizes that wheel of year. A pagan celebrates that wheel of year. Pagan. So for your daughter's sake, it's pagans recognize that the earth is alive, everything is interconnected, and they're happy about that. Yay! So they have celebrations, probably about 8 times a year. Yay! That's a pagan. Now let me go on. Let me expound upon this, because what I like to do is expound, and here I shall go. And I shall go on for many, many more topics. I'll go through a whole range of them, from witch to mystic to priestess to shaman. And what are all these different things? So what's a witch? So a witch is a person that recognizes that the earth is alive, everything's interconnected, this should be celebrated, yay! And not only that, but that I, as an individual, and one of my practices, in addition to one of my spiritual paths being Catholicism, is witchcraft. So for me, and these are the languages that work for me in religion. I like these languages, Catholicism, and I like not everything about it, obviously. And witchcraft, I don't like everything about that either. But I don't like everything about anything. So that's me. A witch says, oh, I'm interconnected with everything, and that means I'm empowered. They take that part about I can influence it and I'm influenced by it very seriously. And they realize if they bring intention to themselves, if they use their intention, their ability to go, I intend this, that they can impact the world around them in an even greater way. We say 3 times as power. Whatever you put out comes back to you 3 times. So when you put something out, it echoes around the world at least 3 times more powerfully than you put it out. So we can influence the world, and we also then are influenced by the world. So whatever we do influences ourselves. And we recognize that power, and we own that power, and we then take that seriously and begin to use that power. And we call that spell working, and we call that witchcraft. And if you weren't a witch, you would call it prayer, and you would call it spirituality. So that's what a witch is. Somebody who recognizes the world's interconnected, and that everything is alive, and that should be celebrated. And I have the power. I'm empowered to impact that, and also to be influenced by it. And we take that influence seriously. That's what a witch is. Now, a mystic is a person who probably recognizes most of that. But what they recognize for sure is that not only is the earth alive and interconnected, but that it is connected. Not only is it interconnected to itself, but that it's interconnected to other things, which are just that far away that we can't quite understand what they are. So a mystic, or the other person you might want to put into this category, are string theorists. Mystics use their ability to sense and feel and that magic, and string theorists use the magic of numbers. I think they're very, very close in my personal opinion. I don't make a big difference between Michio Kaku and Starhawk. I think they're kind of similar. So the mystic will then get in touch with the mysterious realms. That's what we call the mysterious realms. Those things that are not of the earth or of the earth, but are strange and unusual and mysterious, and they can access that mystery. So that's what a Catholic priest does, is when he raises the host above the altar and he brings the holy energy, Holy Ghost, into the host. I don't know if any of you have been to Mass, but that's what happens. It's Catholicism is a mystic religion. So he brings it up and all of a sudden mystery happens. Woo! It's no longer a nice little piece of bread manufactured in some factory somewhere. It is the body of Christ, which means it is the earth itself. So that's mystery. Also, when you listen to a person who's channeling a deity or a divine person or an old soul or whatever, if you've ever heard a channel, they're mystics and they're working in mysterious realms and they're sort of accessing it. People who write about esoterica are accessing it. So that's what a mystic is. So pagan, witch, mystic, priestess. Oh, that's me. I'm a priestess. She's a priestess. Priestess is someone who recognizes that the earth is alive and everything's interconnected. Yay! Recognizes that they have personal power and they can impact it. Recognizes that there's a mysterious realm and they can access it. And then they also feel because they have certain abilities to access the mysterious realms, they feel that they have a calling to do service work for the people, the planet, and they mediate. They stand as if there was a gate, or they can open a gate between the mundane realms or the muggly realms and the mysterious realms. And they stand at that gate and they, like the Sibyls at Delphi, they bring the messages through. So oracles and priestesses bring the messages through. And they are always, 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 always working with the mandate to heal. Their job is to be healers. A priestess is a healer. If you ever encounter someone who's a priest, calls himself a priest or a priestess, I'll use the word priestess. You can use the word priest. You can use the third gender neutral word. I don't care. When I say priestess, I mean all y'all. I don't care what gender you got. If you ever encounter a priest or a priestess who is saying, I'm a priest or a priestess, and what they do is not healing, then they are charlatans and you should avoid them. And use your intuition to check that one out. With anything, what I say, what anybody says, or anybody does. So a priestess mediates that magical energy, that mystical energy, and brings it through for the purposes of healing. And so she stands at that gate. That's what she does. Or he does. And then there is the shamans, a Russian word. And it is... shaman is someone who recognizes all the things heretofore, notices that there are gates between the realms, can see the gates, can open the gates between the realms of mundane and mystery, and can, in fact, go through into the realms of mundane and mystery, can bring things through from the realms of mundane and mystery, can allow their bodies to be completely taken over in a thing we call full trance channeling, where an entire god or goddess comes into the shaman's body, and then you are in the presence of the divine. And George is now, on vacation. The shaman goes onto a little trip, and the deity comes in and takes over the body and brings great power through. The shaman will go through that gate. They will do things in the mysterious realms to help this world. I think Carlos Castaneda talks about this a little bit in his books. That guy's a total trickster priest. His job was to be a bit of a trickster, and he did a good job at it. He was always tricking everybody, but he talks about real things. So you go through and you do things there, and those things that you do there can help bring the balance back to this world, can help people learn their karmic lessons, can help people heal. Of course, healing is a form of karmic learning, can help people learn their karmic lessons and heal their bodies and heal their souls. Often people are soul sick, and shamans help you heal from your soul sickness. Also, shamans' works are always, 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 always to heal. Anybody who's doing that work and is not a healer is involved in some kind of spiritual materialism, which they might call shamanism, but it's not. And that's just really simple, and true. In my opinion, which this is what this is all about. So that's the difference between those things. Pagan, witch, mystic, priestess, shaman. Hope that's helpful. To leave a question for me, dial 520-222-9922. 520-222-9922. Visit my website at AskPomegranate.com.
You can ask Pomegranate